Time now for the temperature test, thanks to Sportsbet. And Kane, this is taking on a bit of a different flavour this week because we're looking at the eliminated sides and how you think they're poised at the end of this season.
Well, no one's running hot, are they? So there it is. There's a few that are simmering, and there's the three there. So we'll start with the Western Bulldogs, 5 players in the All-Australian squad. They're absolutely stacked, as I've spoken about a lot. So I think they can win it next year. That's how good their list is. Now, they've just got to get a defensive profile that is able to stack up so that they don't concede consecutive goals in a row and they don't concede big scores. Offensively, they're a powerhouse. We know that. Highest scoring team in the league, best midfield, percentage of 140. Just couldn't get it done in that last game against Fremantle. But they'd be feeling pretty confident that if there's 1 or 2 additions to the back six, that they're as good a shot as anyone that didn't play finals to win the whole thing next year.
What about the Swans? So disappointing to make a grand final last year and miss out on finals altogether. There's a player who's a previous pick for by the name of Logan McDonald who was unsighted, Kane, and you think he needs a massive preseason.
Yeah, I said this a few weeks ago, but pick up the phone and speak to Riley Thilthorpe and work out what Riley did to completely transform his body to come back the absolute beast that he is. Now, this guy is of a similar age, similar draft pick, similar size and build, not quite as tall as Riley Thilthorpe, obviously, but he needs to put on, I think, 4 or 5 kilos, really get lean, work extremely hard in the gym and get back and be the power forward that they want. We're talking about Curnow, we're talking about getting players from the other clubs, but what if they've already got him on their list and it could be that guy? But for that to happen, he needs a gigantic summer.
The exit meetings have begun at Icon Park. Tom de Koning, Jack Silvani will find new homes. Do you think Sam Walsh should also exit?
Well, I think they need to do something because right now this list is not going to get it done and they don't have their draft pick. They'll get what they get for de Koning. I understand that, but is a pick 9-ish in the draft going to come in and make a big difference? So where are they at? That's what they need to work out. Are we in it to compete next year under Michael Voss, or do we need to take a couple of steps back, go back to the draft and then reassess in 2 to 3 years' time, particularly after you lose Silvani and de Koning? I don't think they're going to get any better. So is Sam Walsh the one that you can go, okay, let's get a top 10 pick for him? I don't think that's going to happen, by the way, but if I was them, that's what I would do. They're going to have to come up with something pretty innovative to make sure that in 2 or 3 years' time they can compete.
We saw Ben King start tonight with 7 goals. But what about his twin brother, Max Marabin? Is he the missing piece?
He's forgotten, isn't he?
Yeah.
We don't speak about him at all. So, it's a bit like Logan McDonald, but he's better. So, I think their finals chances hinge on this guy. I really like what they've done in the off-season. Like, I wouldn't pay $1.8 million for a ruckman, but I don't mind Ryan coming in. Clearly keeping Nasai was really important, and it seems to be they're going to be really aggressive to raid other clubs. So I think they're going to be active, but what they've got in the injury list, Max King, I think will dictate. If he can play 20 games, I think they're a really good shot of playing finals next year.
It's going to be a new era at Port Adelaide with Josh Carr taking over the coaching reins from Ken Hinkley. How much can we expect from Port Adelaide next year?
Well, you got to expect a lot, I think, because they moved on a coach that had them in the prelim final and they're all in on this list. They've traded away what would have been around about pick 6 in the draft to get Lukosius in. So a lot of it will rely around fitness and how much they can get from Todd Marshall and Lukosius and Horne-Francis and the other players that have missed a fair bit of footy this year, Bergman. So critical in that space, but I think the absolute expectation is Port Adelaide fans would be seeing them playing finals, and anything else would be disappointing considering how much they have invested and given up to put this list into place.
So Port has its next coach. Melbourne does not yet, but we believe they need to have a massive trade period, Kane. Which names should be bandied about?
Yeah, well, I think clearly Clayton Oliver, if you can move on him, I would do that in a heartbeat. I would have done that last off-season. Whether there's a home for him, someone willing to pay that money, I'm not sure, and I'm doubtful of that. Fritsch is the other one that I think probably needs a new destination. Stephen May, I think, has really let his club down with his on-field performance first and foremost, but also he's been undisciplined and a distraction for a while now. So they're the 3 that I would be looking to do something
Not Petrarca?
with. No, I don't think so. I think that ship has sailed, and I think 4 years to go on that contract. He's not even 30 years of age yet. He's probably in their top 3 best players, so I would keep him around. I think he's a really good citizen off the field as well and trains and works hard. It's a pretty good example for the players. So I'd keep him, but the other 3 I'd be pretty aggressive with.
It was a tough slog for the Bombers campaign. It finished tonight, but I think some of the kids are all right. If you look at the last two draft tools, the likes of Caddy, Roberts, Kako, Clark, and they've got a nice hand at this year's draft, Kane.
Yeah, I like what they've done. I like the way that they've rebuilt. There's their hand this year, is really rock solid. That gives you the opportunity to really, if you get this right, and that's what I want to make the point here, you got to get this right. You got salary cap room, but get your picks right. And you're right with the ones that they've had previously. They've missed on a few of the years prior to that. But if you can get this done, last year you absolutely got it right. Caddy's going to be something phenomenal. Kako clearly is going to be one of the better small forwards in the league. And then you add 4 and 5 and maybe some others in the second round. They're in good shape. And then you do what Hawthorn has done in the next 2 to 3 years, and you're trying to attract the elite talent from other clubs.
All season, on this show at least, Kate, I feel like it was Groundhog Day when it came to North Melbourne and conceding massive scores. They've got to tighten that up in 2026, don't they?
Only 2 teams averaged 100 points or more against this year, and they were one of them, West Coast were the other. So that's all North Melbourne need to be judged on next year. They'll be fine offensively. They've got the weapons. They've got the young talent coming through. We've seen that. We saw that in round 24 against Adelaide. But can Alistair Clarkson devise a defensive game plan that doesn't allow them to continually leak scores and concede 100 plus? That's what I'll be judging him on. And if he can't get that right, then he's not the right man for the job, and we know that.
Now, you had Richmond at lukewarm, but part of that will be getting Sam Lawler, their number 1 pick, right. And that hamstring concern, it was something we spoke about on the show this year.
Yeah, he's a star. I mean, he just does everything right. There's the injury that we spoke about. I thought they rushed him back too quickly and took too big of a risk in a game that they were never going to win. But that's done now. So now it's about getting him absolutely right, making sure there's a program in place, and whether he's got his own individual programs and all that, I'm sure they'll be working their way through that, because he has the ability to be the game's best player. That's how good he can be. He can go forward, takes a contested mark. He's beautifully clean with his hands. He's a good kick. He's a good finisher. So I can't wait to watch him hopefully play a full season next year. And Richmond have done everything right. They petered out towards the end of the year, but that was through fatigue from their young players. But they'd be thrilled, I reckon, with the year that they've had.
It was a tough campaign for West Coast, Andrew McQualter's side, only getting the 1 win this year. And you've got a pretty firm message for them, Kane. Just don't stuff it up when it comes to this year's draft.
Don't stuff it up. It's a great opportunity. So chuck in pick 2 for Oscar Allen, perfect. That like Essendon is a hand. It's better to turn your club around. So this is what Richmond did last year. They've got the ability to do that this year, and they kept Harley Reid. So you got Harley Reid, you got pick 1, you got pick 2, you got some good picks after that. Elijah Hewitt and some players, some key position players forward of the ball that look good. So I think there's starting to be, okay, we can actually see a way out of the hell that we've been in for the last 5 years.